Welcome, everybody. So thank you for coming, Linda. Thank you for getting it all set up. So this is the brainchild of Linda here. Hey, we should, every year we do something. This year we wanted to change it up a little bit. So this is definitely a different presentation than I've given before. How many of you have been to my presentations before? Okay. You'll see some stuff that might look familiar, but this one is brand new. Cranked it out last week just for you guys. So we're going to talk about peak performance. What is that? How do we obtain it through different modalities? So that's me, struggling mightily in the bell and run this year at the end, but that's me. So I'm a master's. I'm also certified in strength conditioning, corrective exercise, USA track and field. What does this all mean? Just all means like I really like running a lot, and I specialize in the biomechanics of it. Been a lifelong athlete. Running is just the thing that I was always best at. So in high school, I was actually more of a long sprinter. So 400 and 800. It wasn't until college that I started to run cross country. So I was a collegiate athlete, but I'm also now coaching at colleges at UW Green Bay. So always coaching, always running, living the dream here. So for peak performance, these are the areas that I want to hit tonight. Training basics, along with training specifics. A lot of the common training mistakes, smart adaptations that you can hopefully apply and throw into your training after tonight. And then what's the auxiliary work or training that we can do dependent on the situation, right? Terrible weather outside, you're sick, you're injured, like what other things can or should we do? And as we go through this, by all means, if you have a question that pertains to the slide that we're on, ask away. If you have a question that doesn't pertain, just hang on, we'll probably get to it. If not, we'll definitely answer it at the end. Training is really simple when it comes to running. We just have to be consistent and we have to be healthy. One of the things that I tell all of our athletes in college when they go off in the summer and they have to train on their own, we give them a program, but they have to do it on their own. We're not supervising, is just come back to me healthy and in shape. And if you can do that, we're going to have a heck of a year, because then in the next 12 weeks, we'll make you very fast and fit. And here we go. But you just got to come back healthy and in shape. Now, that's kind of a loaded statement. It's sometimes it's easier said than done. How many of you have been injured before? How many of you have been sick and had to take time off? How many of you had life get in the way and you're like, I just don't have time, right? So these are all real things that we have to adapt to and move around. But we want to be obviously consistent with our running, okay? So what's the frequency per week? What does that look like over the course of the year, month to month, things like that? Are we consistent with cross training? If that's part of our, weekly routine, are we consistent with that as well? Or is it, well, I know I should have gone on the elliptical today, but like those days happen, but you can't string those days together week after week after week, because then you're just not doing it. We're all guilty of that at some point in time. Are we adding in strength training? What does our diet look like? What does our sleep look like? And this is all under consistency. Our body loves patterns, and it likes to know what's going on and when it's going to happen. It hates when you throw it off. Daylight savings. Look at the reaction I just got from that. That's a 1 hour time change, and look at how much it messes with us, right? So our body likes that homeostasis of I'm here and I know what's coming. Surprises, it'll handle it, but it's not ideal, right? If we're talking peak performance, throwing surprise after surprise at your body, probably not the best thing. From a healthy standpoint, what I'm looking at there is I'm healthy, right? I'm not injured, I'm not sick, and my body has everything that it needs to perform at a high level. And are you able to do that, right? If I'm injured or sick, or I don't have everything I need, this is not achievable anymore. Plain and simple. I can't be consistent if I'm injured all the time. If I'm sick often or for a long duration, it's hard to be consistent. And if I just don't give my body everything it needs, I probably can do this stuff, but I'm not getting everything out of it that I could. Training specifics. So we're going to talk about smart training. We're going to talk about energy zones and also get into training cycles. What does that all look like and what does that all mean? So we're in shape and we're healthy. We've covered the two main things that need to happen. So here's where we go next. So smart training. And this, if you've been with me before, you've probably seen this. This is a slide that will likely never go away in every presentation that I do. And the reason that this is a powerful slide is if you understand this, hopefully this slide enters your head when you're out training and doing what you would hope to do and do it well. So what this is this line that goes straight across. That is your fitness level right now as you sit in the room. What we want to do is we want to go work out. You just worked out. Can I use you guys as an example? You just went out and ran. When you're at the end of the run, do you feel as in shape as what you did at the beginning of the run? No, absolutely not. So that's what training is you started off here, but at the end of a run, you're more tired, I would hope, right? So your fitness level has actually decreased when you're in training mode. That's what we need to happen. So I just told you your body likes consistency, but this is where we want to embarrass our body. We want to go do something that it wasn't quite prepared for, because then it gains fitness back. So you just got done working out. This is you guys right here, right now. But your body will start to recover. And as it recovers, it'll get to a point of, back to where you were fitness wise. Ooh, the laser pointer does work. But what it's doing here is it's saying, wait a second, you just worked out and I wasn't totally ready for that. So I'm going to compensate and be in better shape. So the next time you go work out, I'm more prepared. What your body doesn't know, because you haven't told it, is you're just going to keep doing it over and over and over again. And it's just going to keep responding over and over and over again. This white line is ideal. Okay. Now, obviously, as we move this way, that's time. So how much time between working out here and the ideal place to work out right here? How much time is that? I don't know. Everybody's different. If you're really young, you could be at 48 hours. That might be a 48-hour gap, and you should be thinking or already doing another quality workout. If you're not a spring chicken anymore, don't worry. You still want to hit this here, but that might be more towards 72 hours, right? I am a fan of staying healthy. Healthy individuals are consistent. Consistent individuals improve. For all of our college athletes, we go 72 hours. And I know for a fact that there's plenty of people on the team that could handle 48. But I also know if we did that, I would bury some of our best runners because they work really, really hard on Monday. And I don't think they could come back on Wednesday and have that same sort of effort. I'd rather skew it a little bit later. So for the person that could come back in 48 hours, guess what? I pushed them to 72. Whoop-de-doo. They still improved. Maybe not quite as much, but it's still an improvement and they're still healthy. If you do very little and have a little stimulus, that's okay. You're just going to get a little return, right? And your recovery time is likely going to be quicker because of that. But what most people tend to do is work out incredibly hard. So this green line represents you overran the workout. You went too far, you went too fast, whatever that might be. You can do that. But then did you wait 4 days before your next workout? Or did you work out right here like you had planned? And now you're on this downward trajectory of losing fitness and becoming really, really tired. And therefore, this tends to lead to an injury. Like eventually your body's just like, I can't take this anymore. Something's going to hurt and then you can't do it, right? So if you understand this, you'll understand training. And this goes for anything that you're doing. Like this is strength training, this is cross training. Like it doesn't matter what you're doing. This is training in a nutshell. Training zones. So we want and kind of need to know, what are we training for? So my guess is everybody in this room is here because you're training for the women's half marathon. Is that true? Okay. We're training for a pretty far event is what we're training for. It's farther than 6 to 10 seconds. Agreed? Is it farther than 30 to 60 seconds? Yeah. Is it in this gap here of, a few hours? Yeah, absolutely. So these little power stores and energy systems, these first 3 humps, you use those. You definitely use those when you go out and run, but they're very short-lived. You burn through them quick and then they take time to regenerate, but as long as you keep moving, they're not regenerating on you. Like this is the areas that you live in, this aerobic glycolysis where you're burning carbohydrates, and then this true aerobic zone where you're burning mostly fats. That is our race right there. So when you're in your training zones, most of the time if you're doing even hard workouts and doing intervals, you're probably doing intervals that are longer than 60 seconds, mostly. So, and even if you are doing intervals that are 60 seconds, it's very much a mix between this anaerobic and aerobic. And you can go there now and again, that's fine, but you tend to want to live more here and then this guy here. So know what you're training, and we'll get into how do you train those in a quick second. Training paces. So training paces are important. And this is probably one of the bigger misses that I will see and work with in the clinic here is highly motivated people, highly talented, and they just go out and run and run and run. And that's fantastic. You will absolutely be in better fitness, better shape. But I would argue that when it comes to performing at your best, that's likely not going to happen on that model. So there's different training paces for a reason, because these training paces are going to put you into different zones here. And we train them for a reason. The main one is your aerobic zone. So what's the pace of this? Super easy. If you cannot talk in full sentences with the person running next to you, you're running too fast. And unfortunately, what a lot of people are like, well, that's too slow. Oh, I hate the slow runs. Like, stop calling it fast and slow. Start calling it aerobic. We want to train aerobically. We don't necessarily need to train slow, but we need to train aerobically. If you've done a 5K recently, if you want to figure this time out, pretty simple. whatever your 5K pace was, you're probably adding about 2 to 2.5 minutes onto that, and that would be your aerobic easy run pace. It's a lot more than you think. So, you know, for some people, like a fast walk is aerobic pace, and that's okay. What I'm telling you is that fast walk will produce a better outcome than just going out and running it a little too fast every time. Case in point, I've got the opportunity in the clinic here to work with a lot of very talented individuals, high-level athletes. We had a local kid who went on to a big university, and every year he was in the nationals for cross country and in for track. And when he would come back for Christmas, we'd always get together, go for a run. It was definitely a super easy run for him. It was more of a tempo for me, but you know, I'd ask him like, well, what do you do? So keep in mind, this is a person that can run a 13-minute 5K. Right? So he's averaging about 4:40 a mile for 5. His aerobic runs, the vast majority of his week, never went faster than 7:30 pace. That's the difference. The fun part is he's like, yeah, we call it the 7:30 club. I'm like, what is that? You run at 7:30 in the morning? Like what? He's like, no. I don't go any faster than 7 minutes and 30 seconds. Nobody on the team would join him. He was consistently the healthiest kid on the team and consistently always running at the national team, which makes you think more people should have probably joined him. But they couldn't get their brain to wrap around. Easier means better performance. He was a kid that always understood. The other things in the aerobic zone that are super beneficial are there's a ton of mitochondria growth, that's the little powerhouse of the cell. And we want this because this is what converts the energy, right? Takes in the carbohydrate, creates energy. Yay, boom, we can now run further, faster, all that sort of fun stuff. You build literally millions of these when you're in this zone. You don't build as many of these if you're in other zones. You still will build some, but not as many. So that's super important. And then there's more capillary growth. Like that's the adaptation that your body will make. So if you have more capillaries and more blood can get to working muscles, delivering oxygen, now that's a really good thing too, right? Like it's feeding the cell. We can then be able to go, once again, farther and faster. And this is the fat burning zone. Like this burns more fat for energy. You build more fat burning enzymes, so therefore your body tends to just run on fat more often. So this is why the aerobic zone is super important. We also have tempo paces. So tempo paces are anywhere from your marathon pace to your half marathon pace. And this works a lot on stamina. What we're trying to accomplish here when we do workouts in this zone is we're mimicking race pace for one. So it gives you an opportunity to kind of lock in to be like, okay, so this is what race pace feels like. You also are locking in, this is a longer duration workout. So by the time you get to the end, you're tired, and it gets your body to understand, to learn how to still be able to run fast under fatigue, or at least run race pace under that fatigue. So this is one that, especially for half marathoners and marathoners, we throw this in quite often. This could absolutely be one of your workouts every single week. You have threshold runs. So this is a little bit faster. Think of this is a pace that you could hold for 1 hour. If I said we're doing a 1 hour race, go, like this is the pace it would be. People like to overrun threshold runs. They like to run them too fast, which is human nature. We'll get into that in a second. But what will bring your mind back to getting onto the correct pace is tell yourself, is this something I can honestly hold for an hour? And if it's not, then lay back, right? For a lot of people, this is very close to their 10K race pace. You know, give or take maybe 5 or 10 seconds, but that tends to be what threshold pace is. You also have VO2 max. So this is the fast stuff. So VO2 max is if you went and ran 2 miles as fast as you possibly could right now, that's the pace that these are done at. But generally speaking, these are your intervals. So you're running, 200, 300, maybe 400 meters at this pace. And it's a 1-to-1 recovery, meaning if I go run for 2 minutes, I then take a 2-minute break. And that's up to you as far as what that break looks like. If I'm early on in training, I might just be standing around. As I get more into training, that recovery might be a walk. Once I get in really good shape and fitness, that recovery could be an easy jog. When I get close to competition, that recovery now becomes a walk again, because I just want to be fresher for the race that's coming up, whether it's a week or 2 away. So these are all, not all, but these are the common training zones. One that's not up here, we call it critical velocity, and it actually lays between these two. And what it is it's a merge zone. So it is, you're running intervals that are 3 to 4 minutes long, and you're running them faster than threshold by a little bit, but you're only taking like a 1.5 to 2 minute break. So that zone forces VO2 max to improve along with threshold. So with threshold, we start to tolerate higher levels of lactate within the cells. We also are better at getting rid of it, getting that out of the cell so that the cell can work better. The VO2 max stuff, that's improving how well you deliver oxygen to the cells. Like, can you do that better? More oxygen to working cells equals I run forever, right? So these are key. Stick to training paces. The one thing that I'll say over and over again to people is, what's the intention of your workout? And stick to that. Because a lot of people will say, well, today's workout is a tempo. And then they get out there and they come back like, oh man, that was really hard. Like, well, as a tempo, yeah, it was supposed to kind of be hard in its own way, but what'd you do? Well, I was at 10K pace for most of it. Like, well, then that's not a tempo run anymore. So it's not that there isn't benefit from it, but that really messes with my mind as a coach of, we're strategically working on energy zones for a reason. And if you keep running out of that energy zone, we're training something different. And so keep that in mind. What are we training? What's the stimulus for? So I like this chart because it really breaks it down of, if we're running a half marathon, my guess is most of you are around here, 2 hours. I doubt anyone's running it in an hour. Anyone? Me either. So once again, just to drive home the point, 99% of that race is aerobically based. So running workouts really, really fast and doing all these other things, it'll help you 1%. It's not the goal. Our goal is to be good at doing things for a very long time. So make sure that that's the system you're training for the most part. Even for, I don't run 10Ks in 30 minutes. I never have. But if we use that as an example, even like a 10K, only 5% of it is anaerobically based. The people that have huge engines, heart and lungs, always will do better. Versus the person that's super fast but doesn't have the engine, they just can't make it to the finish line. Plain and simple. So classic training. So I wanted to put down what do most people's weeks look like, along with I'm throwing in a touch of, but this is also ideal. Okay. Everyone will change or be a little bit different based on what you got going on. But typically, you're going to have 2 to 4 truly aerobic workouts or recovery workouts, whatever you want to call it, per week. With that, we're going to have 2 hard, I call them quality workouts. So those are the days that, we're strategically getting after. And this could be your tempo runs, your threshold runs, your intervals, you name it. We're going to do that twice a week. We already told you that we're going to have 48 to 72 hours between these hard sessions. Okay, so you already know that, tipped you off. Here's one that I'll see. There's usually some talking points here with the long run. You don't want it to be more than 30% of your weekly mileage. Now, there's an asterisk with that. Don't freak out and be like, well, I can't train and I can't do this race anymore. Like, just hang with me here. The reason we say that is we know that we get the best results. So remember, this is a talk about peak performance. So if you want to do it really well, your long run should not exceed 30%, which means if you're running 30 miles a week, you could do a 10-mile long run. Now, that's ideal. As you see, like with the women's half training guide, like it isn't that way. Like I built that and it doesn't follow this. For a lot of people, that becomes unrealistic and deters them from doing it. Like if you're running a marathon, you gotta put on a lot of miles for your long run. That's 20 miles to only be 30% or less. But here's the point. We're talking peak performance. What ends up happening is when your long run becomes like 50% of your weekly miles or training load, which we can get into, it just puts a lot on your body all at one time. And what we're trying to do is not surprise our body too much. If we put a lot on it in one session, there's just that more likelihood of injury, illness, and bad things to happen. So keep that in mind. The quality runs, the 2 hard workouts we do, that only is 20% of our entire week. That's it. And this, coming back to the talking point of human nature, is to do more. And you're not alone. So they've researched this. They used club teams in Europe, which is more or less like collegiate level athletes. Like these are good athletes. They know what they're doing, right? And it was fascinating because they took them and they took group A, which is the front row here, and they said, you know what? You know what to do. Go do it. And then they took the back row and said, okay, guys, here's what we're going to do. Here's your training. All built individually for you. They went out, they did a time trial, they then did their training, they came back, and they did the time trial again. If you've heard this story, you can't answer. But which group improved? Group A did their own thing. Group B had a strategic training plan. Which group improved? B? B? You're half right. They both improved. Group B improved much more. So left to our own devices, this was a different study. If you just let people run and do their own thing and they had heart rate monitors strapped to them the whole time, they would spend 40% of their week at a higher intensity. 40. Without a plan, 40%. Here's the other fun part. Guess what? People in the back row, I gave you a plan specific to you, and you followed it to the T, mostly. Guess what? You were still at 25%. Everyone wants to push a little harder for no reason. That extra 5% that you pushed doesn't correlate to better performance. At the end of the day, They've run it so many times that they know 20% will get you your best performance. 25, you're going to do really, really good. It won't be your best. 40, good luck. That's probably not going to turn out well for you. It's super interesting. And this is where when you feel good during a workout, great, stay feeling good. Not the time to push it. It's okay to feel good and leave a little in the tank so that you can do it again the next day, the next day, the next day. Super fascinating. I love when I see those studies. Generally speaking, we got a calendar over here, like you'll build up your volume, your training miles for 3 weeks in a row, and then you'll do a week where you cut back to let your body recover, right? This is natural, this is normal. Depending on the person, and I've played around with this quite a bit with the people that I train and write programs for. Some of them might be coming off of an injury. Some of them might be newer to running. Some of them just might be getting older. And what I've found is anything will work. I've had people build for just 2 weeks, take a week off. I had one lady that I trained for years, and then it just stopped working. And what we did is we just did a long run every other week. And that was enough to keep her healthy and enough for her to perform really well. So I want to give you the basics so you know what to do, but I also want you to know that there's plenty of freedom here to try what might work best for you. And just because it's not the ideal classic model doesn't mean it won't work really, really well. So you do what you can handle, but know that you can continue to improve. We usually taper 2 weeks from the goal race. If you're doing a marathon, that might be even 3, because that's just such a beast of a race. If you're doing a 5K, probably the week of, you just take it a little bit easier and you'll be fine. So the duration of the race matters as far as how much we taper. We don't need to do any quality workouts within 10 days of that goal race. So say you have the women's half marathon, it's the first weekend in October. That's my goal race. I don't have anything planned after it. 10 days prior, physiologically, nothing you do is going to enhance your race at that point because it doesn't have enough time. Those hard workouts that we do take up to 2 weeks before your body actually adapts to it and gets better. So the long run that you did last weekend still isn't even like in your body yet. That's going to take till probably next week before your body has adapted to it. So with that known, working out hard 10 days prior to your race is just making you more tired for your race. So not that you're not still running and doing workouts and all that fun stuff, and maybe you do a couple of intervals to stay at race pace and feel it out, but none of it should be tiring. And then another key one is 12 to 22 week training cycles, depending on what you're racing and what you're doing. If you're already in shape and you're looking to run a 5K, race a 5K, you could do that. Like 12 weeks, that might actually be too much time. Like if you're already in shape, you could get ready for a 5K in probably 8 to 10 weeks. For the bigger races, the longer races, this is where a longer training cycle makes more sense. There's more time to adapt, more time to move on. But what I will tell you is a lot of people will just keep going. 52 weeks in a row. We'll talk about miscues in a bit, but stick to training cycles. Like divide it up, conquer, know how many weeks you feel you need so that you can get the work done. So the miscues that I see, that if we can educate people more, like you guys in the room today, hopefully we don't step into these. I am not perfect. I have made plenty of training errors, and hopefully, being able to share those with people gets them to not do some of the things that I had done earlier in my career. I've always been very lucky. Only one time have I ever been injured where I had to stop running for a duration of time. Everything else was enough of my body saying, hey, stop being stupid. And I'm like, okay, I'll stop being stupid. I'll adapt. Things will get better. Move on. So the miscues that we see, training based on a race goal versus current fitness. This is a very common one. So I want to run a 4-hour marathon, and it's 4 months from now. If I start training as if I can run a 4-hour marathon right now, why would I wait 16 weeks to sign up for the race? Why not just do it now? You have to train on your current ability. You will get to that 4-hour marathon. You will. You just have to trust the process. But if you start training that way, it can work. It's just not the best way. We're talking peak performance, right? What's the best way? See where you're at. Know where you're at. Guessing at how fit I am may work for maybe the first few weeks of training because you're just getting going anyway. So it's not that big of a deal. But after a few weeks into regular training, I would suggest doing something that tests your fitness, whether you find a short road race, whether you do a 2-mile time trial, something. You'd want to do that so you're not guessing anymore. We already hit on this a little bit already, but doing your quality workouts just too long, too hard, and not focused on that desired outcome of what zone was I intending to work and did I actually work that? Because like I said, a lot of people will be like, oh, I felt good. And what they end up doing is they never end up actually doing a tempo run and never end up training stamina. They just kept training some other zones that were faster. So keep that in mind. Another big one here that we see in the clinic quite often is just not modifying. If you're injured, if you're sick, if life is getting in the way, just stress in general. Our body can only handle so much stress. That's work, that's family, that's traffic jams that we don't have in Green Bay, things like that. But it's also the physical side of it. Like, we know that physically working out is a good thing, but that is a stress. We can only handle so much. You need to modify. Most people look at the calendar with blinders and say, I have to do a 6-mile run today. There's 3 feet of snow outside. Like, no, go shovel instead. Cross training day, I'm shoveling. Like, I was very guilty of living off the calendar, especially post-college. Lived off the calendar. Well, the calendar says it. I literally ran in a blizzard. Literally. And like snaked through streets because it was so windy, cold, and terrible. And that's when I got Achilles tendonitis. The only injury I've ever had because of a stupid training mistake. And it was kind of bothering me a little bit already, not listening. Do it anyway. It's on the calendar. In recent years, I don't even write out my own plans anymore. Here's what I know. I'm going to run 6 days a week. 3 of them are going to be easy. 1 of them is going to be long. And 2 of those workouts, I'm going to work really hard for about 30 minutes. And I've gotten as good, if not better, results from that. Because there's days where work gets in the way. You know what I do then? Shrug my shoulders. Okay, I'll just do it tomorrow. You know, I don't worry about it anymore. I just get it in when I can and still stay consistent with it. So listen to your body. As the phrase I like to use is listen to your body when it's talking to you instead of waiting for it to scream at you. So when it starts to tell you something, take note. By all means, keep training. But take note that my big toe kind of hurt yesterday. Oh well. A lot of times those things, as you know, like they just go away. They pop up, they go away. That's part of training. But when something pops up and 4 days later it's still there, a week later it's still there, but it's worse, like, okay, let's take care of that as soon as we can. I had a lady come in, this was years back, and really good athlete. What's up? Well, my knee's bugging me. It's just bugging her. Okay. How long has that been going on? 3.5 years. And she's looking at me like, so I'm hoping you can get this going for me because I got a really big race in 2 weeks. So 3.5 years of something obviously wasn't right. But you want me to fix that in 2 weeks. I'm really good at my job. But if I could do that, I'd be a billionaire overnight. Like, that's not happening. The longer we go with an injury that we haven't taken care of, the longer it's going to take to probably pull ourselves out of it. So be proactive, be on top of it. Remember that when it comes to training, we can add numbers of days, we can add more volume to it, we can add intensity, but do not do this too quickly. Just step it up. One thing at a time, preferably. If I add one extra day of running to my week, my training volume or miles should hopefully just stay the same that week. I've added a different stimulus already. Adding 2, if not 3 stimuluses all in 1 week is a recipe for disaster. Training volume, just to touch on that, because we've talked cross training, we'll talk a little bit more about it, but volume is just what are you doing? So running is one component of it. But are you strength training? That's some more minutes. Are you riding a bike, getting in a pool, doing elliptical? That's more minutes too. That all counts. That all counts. So, some people are like, well, I don't know why my running's going so terrible. I'm doing the same thing. Okay, have you had anything else? Oh yeah, got a Y membership. I swim every morning. You're like, well, you have to take that into account. Like you just added 5 more days of aerobic volume to your week. So obtainable goals. This is another one too of it kind of touches on, running off your race goal or your current fitness, but you'll know what sex this person is as I tell this story. Person comes up to me, Nate, I'd like a training plan. Do a marathon. Great. Have you done a marathon before? Nope. Awesome. First one. This is going to be fun. Have you done half marathons before? Oh yeah. I've done like 3. Okay, good. What are you thinking for the marathon? Like just one around 4 hours. Fantastic. Hey, what were like your halves that you did? Like what were they around? 220. Is this a male or a female I'm talking to? This is a male, 100%. And I looked at him and I was like, okay, what, has there been a long time period between this half and now? Oh no, that was just a few months ago. So you want to go from a 220 half to a 4-hour marathon within this year. Like, I'm not great at math, but if you just double that, it's still not even close, right? And he just looks at me like, what do you mean? Like, unobtainable goal. And I told him, like, let's get the first one in the books. And let's not care what it even is. Let's just get one in the books and we'll move from there. But yeah, those are the stories I get to deal with. Lack of breaks between training cycles, and recovery between those cycles. Like I said, we put up there 12 to 22 weeks is usually somewhere in that duration of what you're likely to be training. Professional athletes, professional runners rarely go beyond 22 weeks. So if that's what a professional runner does and that's their livelihood, what makes me think I could do better than that and go for longer than that and sustain it and do it well? So when you're going through these training cycles, what I need you to understand is when you get through a training cycle, take some time off. Physically, mentally, go do something different. Like when you get super heavy on the running side, other things tend to go away. You don't have as much time to go to yoga, or you don't have as much time to go to the weight room. Like all those things go away. Like that's your recovery week. Get away from running, get away from a lot of the aerobic stuff. Do all the little things that you should or could have done within your training and get as strong as possible in that break so you can handle the next training cycle. For college, when we get done with the season, because we push them 21 weeks in a row. When they get done with the season, it's a mandatory 2 weeks off. And we are very strict, and I'm very honest with them of, if I see you running, I will actually stop my vehicle, tackle you, zip tie your hands and feet together, and drive you back home. And I am dead serious when I tell them. We even give them the luxury of, if you need 4 weeks off, please take it. Some kids are like, yeah, physically I'm fine, coach. I'm mentally burnt out. I got finals. I got all these things coming up. Good. Take care of your school. Extra stress, right? Finals equals extra stress. We got to reduce it by taking the training away. So take your breaks. And then coming back from, injury or illness too soon. Coming back from an illness is probably the tougher one. Injuries are a little bit easier because you start to feel better. So you should start to run. Where illness, you're like, should I run? Should I not run? Like, I have just a head cold. Should I run? I would tell you, go for it. Once you're in here with coughing up stuff, then I'm telling you, you probably need to lay back. Take it easy. Let that clear up. And that one gets a little bit tougher. Like you're once again, your body is stressed. It's zapped a little bit. So you might want to take a little extra time. What I've found to work well, and I have no scientific proof behind it, is when you start to feel pretty good, wait 2, if not 3 more days, and then go at it. And usually you're well into the clear then, you never have to look back. So the adaptations that you could or should make, so we can cross train. We just hit on this of like that helps and that matters. Like, I can't run today for whatever reason, the weather's terrible, whatnot, but I got an elliptical in my basement. Go ahead, do that. If your run was going to take 30 minutes, go on the elliptical for 30. Guess what? Your heart and lungs don't know the difference. Your legs, your knees, your joints, they might know the difference because there was less pounding. But heart and lungs, if we're just here to build the engine, go for it. Same difference. Extra day off or easy day. I don't know of a single person on the face of the earth that's gotten injured by taking an extra day off. So if things aren't feeling great, just take the extra day. In the grand scheme of things, if you're training for 16 weeks straight and you took 1 extra day or 2 days off in a row, it ain't gonna matter. It's not gonna matter. Focus on your diet, your nutritional needs. If I'm just starting training, and I'm just making up numbers here, but if I'm just starting training and I'm eating 2,000 calories a day, and weeks later, I'm now running 20 more miles per week, should I still be on 2,000 calories a day? Probably not. I'm actually likely not giving my body enough of the building blocks that it needs to be able to sustain that and do well at it. So keep that in mind. This will fluctuate throughout the year. I love the springtime. I can eat whatever I want because I'm training a lot. Right? In the summer, I gotta be more mindful. More salads, right? Focus on your sleep. Sleep is huge. You want to get as much sleep as you can. Like, plain and simple. The other power with sleep is the routine. Preferably, you'd like to go to bed close, if not on the same time every night. You get up at the same time. Like, that matters greatly. Once again, body loves routine. It loves patterns. College and high school kids are terrible at this. Absolutely terrible at this. Because they'll be okay during the week. Now it's the weekend. So I stayed up till midnight because we were having fun with the friends. And you're like, and what time did you wake up? Well, I slept until 11. You're like, well, I'm glad you got a lot of sleep, but your whole circadian rhythm is gone. And now we get to start over. And there's too much research to show that that's not ideal, right? So when in doubt, slow down. When it's super hot, when it's super cold, when you're on different terrain, when it's super windy, stop analyzing your watch so much. I mean, if you just ran up a hill for a half a mile, would you expect to keep the same pace? I wouldn't, right? So when in doubt, it's okay to slow down. And the other quote that I live by is, don't allow today's workout to get in the way of tomorrow's workout. And that just ties into the fact of when people go too hard or too fast because they felt good. The number of times I've heard people say, I felt so good, and not, to be totally honest, and 2 weeks later they were dealing with, my knee kind of hurts. Like, remember 2 weeks ago? Because that's how long it typically will take before your body's like, I've had enough. It can handle it for a day or two, even a week, but usually like 10 to 14 days later is when it starts to argue with you. And people like to blame like the workout they just did. The reality, it was probably the workout they did a week, if not two, before. So all the auxiliary work. So we can do core, right? From here to here. Abs, back, hips, the more the better, right? Mobility work. So this is yoga, Pilates, dynamic warm-up before you go run, static stretching before or after you run, whenever you want to incorporate it. But doing some sort of mobility work to maintain your ranges of motion. Simple rule that we have in strength and conditioning: if you can't move it, we can't strengthen it. You got to be able to move. The strength training piece, ideally you want to be as strong as possible before you go into your training cycle. So what that might mean is you might be only running 2 or 3 days a week, but you're strength training 3, maybe 4 days a week. But as we start running, we just want to maintain our strength. So your strength training might go down to 3 or even 2 days a week because you've added in more running days. So like that balances out, right? The amount of work that you're doing stays the same, but what work you're doing will change. Breathing. There's a lot of different breathing exercises that you can do. How many of you have done breathing exercise before? I absolutely love them. And we will teach our team this. I'll teach clients here this. I find it to be like most beneficial as I'm trying to go to sleep at night. Have you done that? Like, if you can't sleep and you start to doing, there's a lot of these different patterns. The easy one is box breathing. You inhale for 4, you hold it for 4, you exhale for 4, you hold it for 4, and just do that again. You will fall asleep within a few cycles of it. I guarantee it. If you can't fall asleep, I go right to breathing, meditation, prayer, decompressing, whatever you want to call it. Something where you are just getting your mind off of the million things that are going on in your day will help a ton. When we had the Bellevue Fitness Center and I was over there, I was teaching a class, and all these people are coming in. It was like a 5 to 15 class, so they're all coming straight from work, right? And one day you could just feel the tension in the room. Like, it must have been a day where everyone at their work was just nonstop. So I went over to the corner, turned the lights off, said, everyone get a mat. What are we doing, Nate? They just want to work out. I'm like, just lay down on your mat, close your eyes. And then we went through breathing. I told them to relax, and we just went through every single muscle from their head to their toe. They absolutely hated it. Because they were there to work, right? 2 weeks went by. Hey, Nate, can we shut the lights off again? Can we pull those mats up? That became something that we would routinely do probably every 3rd week. I started to buy into it. It just takes 5 minutes, and man, it's amazing how much better you'll feel. The mental training of it, we spend an absolute ton of time training the physical side, but how much time do we spend thinking about, so how am I going to do this race? How am I going to do if these conditions are like, you have to train your brain to be ready for all of those things. But that's like the wild frontier of, if we can get ourselves to believe more in our abilities, like, you'd be shocked. We'd all be shocked at what we're capable of. Don't know how they did this study, but there's like hundreds of thousands of thoughts that go through your head in a day. 2/3 of them are negative. Yeah. So just think the power behind the negative thought that's going through your head, that you recognize it and say, nope, and you turn it into a positive thought before it leaves. Just that alone is super powerful. So train your mind to be ready. And this is something that Charles Latour talks about. I try to catch every talk that he does because it's always impressive for me. Do your personal rehab protocols if you've been through therapy before, or you've had something that always bothered you before. Like, do those things, whether it's stretches, strength exercises, activation exercises. Just make that a part of your routine. What we see too much is these are a lot of afterthoughts. I will get to this once I've done that. And guess what happens? You do that, and you're like, I'm hungry. I'm going home. Like, we always tend to skip out on these things, but I'm telling you, there's a lot of power if you can make that a part of your day. Lastly, okay, we're the running experts here. I would put our team up against absolutely everyone in the city. I would put our team up against anyone in the state. I would even put our team up against anybody in the region of Minnesota, Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, wherever you want to go. We have an incredible team of docs that know running. We have an incredible team of surgeons that know running. Guess what they don't say? Stop running. Dr. Lichty ran for the University of Iowa. Guess what? He's not going to tell you. Stop running. A lot of people will. We won't. Our therapists, they're not going to tell you to stop running. If any of these people do, it's because you probably really need to for a short period of time. And then our goal is to always get you back. We want to get you back to what you love to do. Love our physical therapists. They have been trained and have worked with a lot of the lead biomechanists in the country. Even ourselves as strength coaches, we've had the luxury to sit in Dr. Heiderscheid's lab at UW-Madison multiple times, listen to some of his presentations. Dr. Powers out of USC, he's the guy that literally checks the box to sign off on your research to get published. That's who that guy is. And we've gotten him he's come into the clinic. He's helped us design the clinic here. So a lot of knowledge within this clinic here, strength and conditioning wise, myself, Nick Winkler, Jordan, we're all people that live in the endurance world that can help you out. So we do a lot of strength and conditioning. So if you're looking for something, a program or whatnot, we have personalized strength, running, triathlon programs. They can be done online. You can come in here and we can work with you. You just got to let us know. And then obviously there's the walk-in clinic here too as well that has helped thousands of people. So if you have anything that you're not sure about, you can walk in or make an appointment, come on in, they'll check you out. 9 times out of 10, they'll be like, do this, do that, the other. Call you in a week, it'll hopefully be better. But for that one time where like, you need to get an x-ray, things like that, we can do that all right. You've been pretty quiet. Any questions?